Greetings, infinite blessings, and welcome to another moment of now and another episode of Hump Day Healing. Today I wanted to talk about choices, the choices we make, and the fact that everything in life is a choice. But my question is, do your choices matter? Does the choice you make now really have an effect on what you do going forwards? In simplistic terms, yes, but at the same time, there is actually something more important than the initial or original choice that you make, is what you do once you have made that decision. Hey brother. So I have recently been away on holiday to Turkey. I live in the UK, and Turkey was a safe destination to go outside of quarantine regulations upon returning. Yet whilst I was there, floppy hair changed the regulations to mean that I now I don't have to do anything. I am choosing to self-isolate for 14 days in order to limit anybody's upset, in order to keep people in a place of feeling safe. I actually had a test. I knew what the result would be, and even if I was to come into contact with somebody, I would not become ill myself because of the way that I live and the ability I possess to actually override anything that is outside me. So I'm now staying indoors for 14 days. I'm going to use this time to the benefit of the collective. I'm going to use it to continue to grow the movement and connect with new people and actually finish my book, because it has been put on hold over a period of time when I've been concentrating primarily on the radio show. So bringing in the radio show, I was gifted with the opportunity to become a host and have my own radio show maybe 3 months ago. I've chosen to actually step away from the radio and focus solely on the podcast because I have freedom of choice, I have freedom of expression, and I have artistic ownership of the entire episodes. Then I can do what I want and speak to who I want, as opposed to trying to keep it more mindfulness orientated as opposed to spiritual. Mindfulness is a very powerful and important topic, a meditation attached to it. In truth, mindfulness requires that added ingredient, which is kindness. Because it's okay to be mindful of our thoughts, but then if we condemn ourselves for having those thoughts, we are actually causing ourselves suffering. If we have a negative thought and we are mindful of it and we then attach kindness to it, it's okay. It's just a thought. It's okay to have thoughts that you used to think alongside the ones that you now do after actually having done the inner work to bring yourself into true alignment with who you are. I love you still. Even though you felt negative, even though you thought something about yourself or another person that was lowering them or you, I still love you. It's all just part of existence, it's part of reality. Kindfulness. So, what choices have you made recently which have led you along a path? The choice is like opening a door. To choose to go left or to go right. And I'd love to know if there is any important choices, important decisions that you have made recently, and where along that path forward that you are at the moment. We chose to come here. We chose to have the connections and interactions with the people that we do in our life. We chose our family. We chose what it was that we needed to learn and the people to deliver us those learnings, or to allow or to assist us in gaining those learnings. We may not have chosen the specific event, but if you have chosen to come here to learn surrender, then perhaps you have gone through something that has taken away your choice, your freedom, your choice. By surrendering, by accepting everything as it is to experience true enlightenment. To accept the sunny and blissful and beautiful days in life is easy. To accept the dark and stormy and cloudy days in life can be done, because we know that we will see the sun again. The day, for myself, holds more potential than the evening, than the night. Although at night we get to see the beautiful stars shining that we could not see within the daylight. I do not particularly like the winter very much in the UK because it is very gloomy, very dark, very heavy energetically. But I know the summer will be here again soon. If you are placed in a position where you cannot see any light, you cannot comprehend, and you almost lose that hope of ever seeing the daylight again, of ever having that beautiful, life-giving sun shine upon your face. In true surrender, you can then experience something outside of the potential to have previously been able to even imagine. When you fully surrender and accept everything as it is, and return back to your center, you then realize that you are everything that is. Those of us that shine brightly do so because of the pressures of life, just as a carbon-based mineral is turned into a diamond over years of pressure and heat. The pressures of life are turning you, the carbon-based being that you are, into the diamond that you are. Every choice that we make does lead us down a path. I mentioned this the other day in a short live on Instagram, and it was the way that I was shown it. Everything I see, everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. We know this. I'm showing it as water quite often, and colour, different coloured waters, and it will flow in different ways, or it will have a blockage in that flow at a certain point. I've done a video on friendships, sailing on the seas of life, and that is the title, Cosmic Surfer. That's what that's all about. It's surfing the waves of existence, surfing upon the waves as opposed to going under. So just as I said the other day, if you imagine yourself as a vessel, as a body, and you are sailing upon the seas of life, if to your left there is a beautiful, blissful, open scenery travelling towards your destination, and to the right there is some jagged rocks that if you were to venture too close to, that they may actually cause you to sink, to go under. To acknowledge the rocks are there, to be aware of them, is beneficial. And then you continue to focus upon the destination which you wish to venture towards, journey towards, and actually sail in that direction. If you focus on the rocks to the exclusion of anything else because of fear and because of a want to control the fact that you do not want to actually venture towards those rocks, this causes anxiety, which will further trap you in the single point of focus and the panic over actually travelling in that direction towards that destination, and that is where you will then be facing and heading you are steering yourself towards the rocks. Acknowledge they're there, focus back on where you wish to go. Don't focus on what you do not wish to experience in life, because you are energetically feeding it and creating it. Again, this is why I do not pay any attention to conspiracy theories or those which seek to control and divide and destroy us. I know it is all there. I know how they operate and who they are to quite an extensive degree. But focusing upon it, getting angered by it, I lower myself to it. I am feeding the fire. I am fuel for it. By staying aligned with love, by seeing the positivity in every single moment and every person that I come into contact with, I'm feeding that. If you look for the positivity in any situation or any person, at least you have the chance of seeing it, as opposed to only ever looking for the negatives. Because whatever you look for is what you will see. Subconsciously, this is the way that the mind works. We can only process so much information. We're bombarded by about 2 million bits of data every second, and we can process about 130,000 of those bits. So it's like it's like making, when we were at school, when we were kids, making a pasta collage. I give you 2 million bits of pasta, you grab 130,000 of them, and you make your picture of reality with it. You see what you look for. You see what you expect to see. Because the subconscious mind takes the path of least resistance. It takes the least amount of energy to bring you what you are asking it to do, let's say. So looking at the pictures on the wall, I know they're there. It's kind of ingrained into my mind, into my ability to experience that the pictures I painted are on that wall. If somebody was to take them down as I looked away, the first thing I would see when I look back is the pictures on the wall, because it's what I expect to see. If somebody is negative and you expect them to be negative and you look for that negativity, even if there was 9 experiences or expressions which were positive and 1 which was negative, you would attach to that single negative to the exclusion of all the positives, and you would go, yes, I knew I was going to be right. So, do the choices you make matter? I'd like for you to actually give me your input on this. Do the choices you make matter? Because on various levels of existence, there are various answers. So, imagine that you are playing a game of dodgeball. You're the captain of the team, and there is somebody else as the captain of the other team, and you go about choosing your team. You choose according to the appearance of the players which you have at your selection. You then play the game through the choices you have made. And because of the choice to actually choose the certain players to join your team, the result is according. You choose what you believe to be the best players, and you win the game. But then you go forward and you continue to choose the same players each time that you play this game. But because you think that you're the best, you don't then go about actually training together. You just turn up once a week and play the game. The other team actually go about training and actually bettering themselves in the ability to play dodgeball. You go into it week after week believing that you've already won, and actually not focusing or seeing the improvement in the other team or seeing the qualities that they possess, because you were used to beating them. So you are looking for the weaknesses because that is what you've previously seen, until the day comes that they win. And it comes as a shock. And then week after week after week, they continue to win. A lot of people at that point would quit. I've seen a lot of people do this in the past, where if they were previously good at something and somebody comes along and challenges them, that they actually give up. It's easier. This is egoic. The ego thinks it's itself superior, and as soon as it has a feeling of insuperiority, it will do all it can to defy this or to escape it. But I don't even like dodgeball. The other people were cheating. My team are rubbish. Whatever excuse it wants to come up with so that it can stay the mighty ego. In truth, every choice you make does, just as a butterfly effect, single breath in and out ripples around the entire universe. And just by existing, you impact us all in a deeper and more fundamental way than you could ever imagine. Yet all rivers lead back to the ocean. Doesn't matter which route it takes, it will reach its destination. So it just depends on how many twists and turns and ups and downs that you wish to experience, dependent on the choices you make. The uniting of humanity. Every single choice I make is because of a bigger picture. And it is all leading myself and us as a collective towards a destination. I'm here to do groundwork, to lay foundations to be built upon, as so many of us around the globe are. And it is becoming more and more clear and apparent, not only between ourselves, but to those which are trying to actually defy it, those upon the top of the pyramid scheme of old. Every choice I make is based on a mathematical principle and is all to do with the liberation and empowerment of humanity, to actually allow for Mother Earth to become restored to her former beauty before she goes about and actually expels the host which she is sustaining, which is only going about destroying her. I didn't want to use the word virus, but there it is. So it doesn't matter which route the river takes, as all rivers lead back to the ocean. So does it really matter what choice you make? Does it really matter if we get to the end, if we experience true equality, heaven on earth? Does it matter? Does it really matter if right now the entire universe comes to an end and there was nothing left to experience at all? Does it matter? On the deepest of levels, no. None of it does. None of it matters whatsoever. If I live, if I die, matters not. The universe will still exist. It will not exist for me to experience, but it will exist. And somebody else will continue the journey, continue the work. On the deepest of levels, none of it matters. It is all just an experience to be experienced, a ride to be enjoyed. From the moment that you are born to the moment that you die, the one thing that you always have is time. So I ask each and every one of you to start to use it accordingly, picturing that you wake up each day with a fresh glass of water. This is your energy, this is your time. And the areas that you place it will give back accordingly. Plant the smallest of seeds and water it daily. Doesn't take a lot, only a drop. That single moment when you awake each morning, align yourself with positivity. Write a gratitude journal. Go through the day. I've started setting my alarm not that much early, but maybe between about 10 minutes earlier than I tend to get up. And then I lie there and I go through the day. I set my intentions and I do so in a light meditative state, and I bring in all the enjoyment, all the pleasure, all the possibilities to be experienced. And then I get up and I go about creating it as such. If you have that negative thought, show it kindfulness. I will get for you too. Focus on the rocks to know they're there, and then focus back on the destination which you wish to travel towards, knowing that it's just an experience, and that if you were to actually crash upon the rocks, maybe that you would then be washed up on shore and find something that you would not have otherwise discovered. You don't know if it's positive or negative until the very end of the film. The hardships and heartaches that characters experience in films are the exact ones that lead them to their happy ever after. It's only the ego which wishes to control every moment of now, but actually it only ever wishes to control past or future moments, as in this moment of now there is no ego, there's only the self. It matters not. You matter not. Yet you are the most important being that has or ever shall exist, as without you there is no universe to experience at all. Rena. The choices you make do matter, but fundamentally they only matter to you. As we've said, we are all upon our own journey. You are character, player, one. This is your game, this is your film, and everything you experience is your experience. You experience what you expect to experience through actually looking for it due to old perceptions and old programs. It's like always taking the same route to work. You decided that it was a beneficial route, so you always take it. If you actually use the sat-nav, then you may discover there was a quicker route. If you actually walked an alternative route, you may find that there is a more enjoyable one because you pass some more picturesque scenery. The simplest of things allows you to actually start to develop new wirings, new neurological pathways within the mind. There's neurons that fire together, wire together. And it's things as simple as actually cleaning your teeth with your other hand, standing a different way. Instead of standing in a queue forwards like everybody else, try standing sideways. Next time you're stuck in traffic, instead of actually thinking about where you're going, think about where you are. It's all about bringing your awareness back into yourself and then allowing it to distribute and to be emitted out of yourself in a more mindfully chosen manner. So the choices you make do matter, but they don't. But they do, but they don't. So go inside and stay outside. Maybe that's what this whole situation is about. It's so that people are taking a chance upon looking outside of their old perspectives, going upon the same path continuously. You will be travelling towards that destination. Do as I say. Don't think, just do. Or, I've actually spent quite a while with myself now, thinking about thinking and actually contemplating the meaning of life. The path that I was on was meaningless, and the only joy, or actually not even joy, happiness that I experienced was due to things outside myself. Because of the current situation, I have spent time with myself. I have looked at things that I never even realised existed, and I have learned that I control the choices I make in life. You may not be able to control the weather, whether it is going to be sunny or raining, but on a collective level we can. But we're not quite there yet. But you can control the choices you make, knowing what the weather is. If you deny the fact it's raining and you go outside, you're going to get wet. Or you choose to actually look outside before you go out to check the weather report, and then you act accordingly. You take an umbrella and then you don't get wet. If somebody has done something to wrong you in the past, holding on to it is only lowering and limiting yourself. And you are actually feeding them energetically without knowing, by focusing upon the pain of old, where they went about draining you, and still feeding it. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and whatever you focus your light of attention upon then grows. Please, 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 I realise this is a peculiar life. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm very optimistic, I'm very positive, and I'm very, very excited. Yet there is a surface level which has become quite monotonal. It's time. It's time to not only do the work yourself, but it's time to start to plant those seeds outside of your boundary of safety, the boundary of protection. The reason that I will be staying in for 14 days is to limit the upset caused to other people. That's it. It's not because there's any reason to. It's not because if there is a regulation or a rule that I will automatically follow it. You tell me to do something, I will analyse it and I will go, okay, if it makes sense, or no, if it doesn't. It's that simple. It does nothing to do with the person asking or telling me. It's all to do with whether it makes rational and logical sense or not. That's it. That's how I live. I live based on my will and my choice. And I know that every choice I make has a consequence. And it is whether I want to experience that consequence to whether I then make that choice. Or the fact that the choice outweighs the consequence because you are being guided towards making it. That making a choice is going to have a negative consequence, but you know that that choice must be made to actually gain the experience, the other side, or the learning through actually experiencing the consequence. If you hadn't have experienced those negative events in life, you wouldn't have gained the information through the experience, and you wouldn't be the person you are today. Simple. And in truth, you are perfect. You are. The word perfect falls short because in truth, nothing is perfect. I don't quite know how to explain this still. But you are perfect in the context of what we are able to use as an expression within the language that we have, which does fall very short of the ability to express a lot of the things we are able to experience. You are perfect. You always have been and you always will be. It just depends on which version of perfection that you wish to experience. Everything exists in balance, in harmony, in perfection. And once you get to the level and the depth of knowledge to know that in order for there to be light, there has to be dark. In order to know what love is, you have to experience fear and hatred. In order for one person to be experiencing joy, there has to be somebody on the other end of the spectrum. So then I went through a very long period, a very repressive period, after being gifted this information, where I lowered and limited myself because I didn't want to ever create the suffering of another person. If I'm up here, that means somebody's down here. So if I lower myself, then I'm balancing them back up here. Yes, that is true. But the following learning was what then set me free. Because by lowering or limiting yourself, you are actually only detrimentally affecting the collective. Bigger picture stuff again. If we're collectively here, and you lower yourself so the person's here, remember, you are I. You are the universe. There is nothing outside yourself that is not the self. You're the universe experiencing itself. We are all the universe experiencing itself. We are all separate selves, but the same self. When you actually give somebody else a new baseline, you raise yourself up, and you do so in a way that is outside of ego, outside of desire for self, but it is all about the collective and all about expressing that love that you are outward. It is likened to jacking up the seesaw. Seesaw's here, and you actually jack it up. It's love. It's love that will always lift. It's love that always raises. United we stand, and together we rise. I never saw this before. So just by actually doing this live, I'm receiving all this information. Because I never looked at it from the perspective that I now have. I'd always said when you raise somebody else, I was shown it before as ducks in a bath, right? As the water raises, we all raise. You can't raise yourself, you're only ever raising somebody else because we are the same self. But at the same time, there is that mathematical balance. But it's like jacking up the baseline, and then you can still balance, but continuously higher. Beautiful. And it is always love. It is always love. Sad? No. As I said a while ago, I'm not sure what it is. I'm full of very, very deep positive optimism and joy and excitement. There's There's a lot going on right now, and I'm very, very excited to go forward. It's almost, I've gone through, it's just another little wave, it's another little cycle. I've gone through being fed up. How many times do I have to come back here to do this over and over again? I've then gone through whatever was required to know that it is nearly at completion and that I don't need to come back again. And then it's almost that there's a slight element of maybe sadness that I won't be experiencing it again, but I'll experience something else. And that is what is to be looked at next. I'm being very drawn into the ground. I'm being very grounded in now. It's not about looking anywhere else other than where I am in this moment. I'm receiving some very heavy downloads, which is why it takes me a little while to then express that information. But the basic principle of the message that I was guided to deliver today is that it does not matter. It doesn't matter if I experience it or not, because it's just an experience. And at the end of it, what's left? Other than the experience itself. So whatever you're experiencing, make it count, make it matter, make it the best it can be. And it is all about gaining information, gaining wisdom. It's about looking within, because you have access to all of that information, all of that wisdom. The entire universe or experience is housed within you, and you have access to this at any one point. It's up to you what life you live. It's up to you what choices you make, and then because of those choices, what experiences you have after them. But remember, whatever you have done in the past was perfect, because it has brought you to this point of now. And where you are now is exactly where you need to be to move forward from. Exactly. I'm going to send some healing, but instead of actually directing it to any individual, I'm going to direct it to the planet, to our mother. And I ask that anybody listening, whenever you are listening and wherever you are, do the same. It's because there is no actual concept of separation, because there is no actual time other than our perception of it. This is happening now, whenever or wherever you are listening to it. And you can add your healing abilities, channeling that beautiful divine energy, that source energy through you to our mother. So everybody throughout history that has ever worked energetically, delivering their healing abilities to the earth, is with us now. Every single moment that you give back is taking place now. Every single grain of sand that you add to that seesaw is balancing it out now, is raising us now, raising us collectively, raising us universally. And I ask that once you have sent healing energies to the earth, allowing for those energies to go wherever they are most required, wherever they are most beneficial. You play with that energy, and you go ahead and just make a small energy ball in your hands. And knowing that without you, there is no universe to experience. And knowing that you, yes, you, are the person that is here to liberate and inspire everybody else, to unite everybody else, to lead. And through doing the inner work, becoming your truest self, walking your truest path towards the greatest version of it all. Only by housing the potential, housing the information required, housing the energy necessary, do you have the ability to walk that path and to complete your mission. So go ahead with that energy ball and actually bring it into yourself, absorb it into your solar plexus area where you can store and house that energy so that it is there for whenever you should need it, whenever you require it, whenever you desire it. Never give from the cup, never give from yourself, because you only become drained and then you are useless to anybody else, including the self. Overflow. Give from the well or give from yourself by overflowing. Fill yourself up. Widen your channel, your ability to actually receive that from above. If your channel is only small, you're only receiving a small amount. You widen it out and allow for all of that energy to pass through you to others. And it keeps you filled yourself. You are benefiting others, you are benefiting yourself. You are benefiting the universe because you are actually flowing through that energy, that information. And every time it passes through, it gains more wisdom, more potential, more ability through expansion. As you, it's one of my favourites, you are the reason for the continued expansion of the universe. It's consciousness which creates all. And as you continue to expand your conscious self, your awareness, your ability, your knowledge, your passion, your wisdom, your love, as you continue to experience it and expand it, you cause the continued expansion of the universe itself. The universe has no alternative but to expand in order to house your continued expansion of self. And I ask now that we all just take a moment to actually give thanks. Thanks to each and every experience that we have been part of thus far and everything that we will experience going forwards. Plant your feet upon the earth and grow some deep grounding and nourishing roots out of the base, out of the soles of your feet into the earth, deep down into the crystalline core of the earth. And allow for that connection to take place in completion. Allow for the connection from source above to connect to your crown and to fill you with that divine wisdom at all times. And then go ahead and place a pillar, like into a glass tube, a pillar of protective white light over the top of you, all the way from the heavens above to the earth below, connecting you inside to outside, but protecting you within and without. Because this pillar of protected white light only exists in the light, and anything other than light cannot exist within that light. Only light exists in that pillar. Only light can be emitted out from it and into it. Just as my post said today, we are being guided globally to actually spend more time grounded, to do a little bit less outside and a little bit more inside. There's going to be some very deep, very heavy downloads that will be coming in some peculiar manners, but most through dreams. The dreams I was having last night were absolutely beautiful. It was all about, basically, it was like maze work. It was connecting things together. It was all done so effortlessly and joyfully, and it was amazing. Really, I haven't dreamt so deeply. So I woke up feeling like a kid again, as opposed to the continued feeling prior to the journey that we are upon, the destination that we are going towards. And it is that, is being on a journey, even travelling through the desert and taking those moments to actually stop and appreciate the wildflowers that are growing, appreciate the pleasure and joy on the faces around you, appreciate the laughter of a child and the wonderment that they are able to see the world through, to appreciate a single sip of water for the life-bringing qualities that it possesses, to be grateful for that single breath in and out that we take for granted, and to be fully present in this gift of now, the gift of this present moment. Amazing. It is a roller coaster ride. It is a roller coaster ride. But without those twists and turns and ups and downs, the roller coaster would be pretty boring and meaningless. I thank you, truly, from the bottom of my heart and with all my soul. I thank you for who you are and all that you do, for your continued expansion of self, for being part of my journey as I am part of yours. Thank you, and I love you. I leave you feeling revitalized, energized, grounded, secure, protected in all ways, present in this beautiful gift that we call now, with an excitement and wonderment and joy for everything to be experienced going forward, and complete, deep and lasting acceptance for everything that has been experienced prior. Love, light, and infinite blessings. And until next time. Namaste. Thank you for who you are and all you continue to do. Thank you for continuing to gain the knowledge, the wisdom, for continuing to look within and doing the work required to bring freedom to not only yourself, but everybody else. As you continue to do the work, as you continue to expand your consciousness and awareness, you continue the expansion and awareness of everybody else, helping others to break free from that limitation and illusion of old. Continue to support me in all I do. Continue to grow the movement and continue to grow yourself.